Hey, hi, hello, and happy almost 2023, or actually probably when you're watching this, it's going to be 2023 because I am filming this 7 hours before midnight on December 31st, which is my birthday. Cop the Bratz earrings. Ooh, girl, Space Bear got these for me. They will be an integral part of my personality from now on. So yes, this is me making my 2022 video as I usually do at the end of the year. I'm making it a little late. And typically what I end up doing is mashing a bunch of my clips together from 2022 and, you know, just giving a quick thank you in the beginning. But to be honest with you, I didn't stream a ton this year and didn't have like a lot of clips, at least not my usual amount. So I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to kind of do a fun recap of my top 5 favorite indie horror games of 2022, because I played a whole ton of them this year. You guys watched me play a ton of them this year, and I just wanted to talk about them because I thought they were fun and cool, and it was a really good year for indie horror, so thought we would do that today instead. Before I get into that, I do want to just say thank you so much for all of you who have stuck by me and kept supporting my content, even though it's very inconsistent, and that's just kind of the way it is. This year I got incredibly busy, not just the fact that I got a new job, but also the fact that we got married this year. Josh and I finally got married. Thank you so much for not just supporting me and my content, but through this year supporting Josh and I, always supporting Josh and I as a couple. I can throw up some wedding photos here. It was like truly and genuinely a very beautiful day, and we could not have asked for anything better, truly. And I was super happy that actually some of my Discord community, my Twitch community here, YouTube, was super happy they could be a part of it, and we got to stream it through the Discord. So yeah, to all those people and to everyone else, just thank you for supporting me and supporting us. And it's been a hell of a year, I think, for a lot of people. I think every year can be a roller coaster, but I just want to say that, you know, if you made it this far at the end of the year, you made it. I'm proud of you, and I hope the new year brings you what you need, and I hope it brings you something better, something that you're looking for. There were some other really wonderful things that I got to do this year. Besides getting married, which was probably my favorite thing this year, we also went to our first GDQ. I went to SGDQ 2022. It was wonderful. Typically, I'm a volunteer. This time, some crazy people vouched for me, and I got to be on staff. It was a huge, huge honor to be a part of that. And just to be able to go and see and meet all of these people and hug all of these people like in the flesh, people I have been gaming with and talking with for years now, finally getting to meet all these people was like a surreal experience. And I just look back on it so fondly. So if we got to meet in any capacity, I just want to say thank you for making that experience so important to me. I don't know when the next time I'll be back in person is, but like I can tell you that was one of the highlights of my year. I loved it. It was great. Obviously, another highlight for me has been my content here on YouTube. I have so enjoyed doing a candid conversation with, and I have so many more ideas for people and for interviews and for formats in the new year. And I'm really crossing my fingers that, like, because I'm not planning a wedding next year, that I'm going to have actual time to like execute those things. And yeah, anyone I've interviewed, I've interviewed a lot of really cool people so far. And to anyone who supported it, just thank you to everybody. It has been a passion project that kind of, like everything else I do on the internet, it's like, if nobody watches it, that's okay. I'm doing it for me, but it is really cool to hear people watching it and enjoying it. And even people who, you know, I don't know are interacting with my content. I've heard other people say, hey, I'm really enjoying a candid conversation with, just want to let you know. And I'm like, I didn't even know you'd seen it. So yeah, it's been an awesome project. I love talking to all of you, and there's definitely more to come on that front. All that to say, thank you so much for just supporting me on every platform that I'm on. I'm still having a good time doing this. This is still a really fun hobby. I'm meeting wonderful people, and when I started streaming, I started doing it so I could make friends because I was lonely, and I'm not so lonely anymore, but I'm still meeting all these people, making all these friends, and it's my favorite thing in the world. It really, like, very much keeps me going. So thank you for a wonderful year, sincerely. Let's get into my top 5 favorite indie horror games of 2022. Not that anybody really cares, okay? I know this is a thing I do for myself. I get it, but there's no but. I do this for myself. I didn't really get to put out like a fun game analysis this year. Like I meant to do Everhood and then I didn't get to it. There was just too much going on. Maybe next year. But like the year before that, I got to do Dread XP. And then the year before that, I got to do Absolov. So like this is my way of just trying to be like, you can still do this. It's just gonna be in a much faster, shorter format. And again, it's just for me. Anyway, let's get into it. Number 5, Labyrinthine. So this one's kind of a cheater one in a way, because I feel like I meant for this list to be like, oh, here are all the games that I streamed for everyone this year. And like, here's my picks. I didn't stream this one. I'm sorry. This one kind of ended up being like a one-off thing. I was sitting in a Discord call with some friends one night and we were like, let's play something scary. And so we all had Labyrinthine, or we all bought it at the same time at some point, and we loaded it up, and it was a fucking blast. Labyrinthine, as the name suggests, was basically just a couple of levels full of mazes. And of course, in the mazes, there are plenty of monsters. There's opportunities for you to get lost. There's opportunities for you to get physically separated from your party. So it makes it that much more stressful and intense. And all you do is solve the puzzles in the maze as you go through. Also, they give you glow sticks, which are kind of fun. It's a nice little mechanic, so you can just throw them on the ground and like keep track of where you are. It's also just fun to throw them at your friends and hide in the bushes and freak people out. I don't know. There were a lot of opportunities to fuck with each other. I really like that about scary multiplayer games. And like I said, I don't know if this one in particular was like the best multiplayer horror game that I've played all year. But it really was like the most fun I had, just like laughing and screaming with my friends until 1 a.m. Like we beat the game sitting just one sitting. It was great. I really think multiplayer horror has made incredible strides in the past few years. And I guess this being number 5 on my list is really like a representation of like all of these amazing games that have come out to let you just be scared with your friends. And I think that experience in itself is like my favorite thing in the world. It has made horror almost more accessible for people who are not comfortable doing those things by themselves, but still really like to kind of like get scared and get the adrenaline going. Things like Phasmophobia, Devour, Pacify, all of these games are, you know, they've got their bugs and their little things that I think drive people crazy. They're not flawless games by any means, but they just are fun. That's it. And I love that about them. So yeah, Labyrinthine totally earned its place, I guess. It's number 5 on my list. Number 4, Gallery. So people who watch me stream this are probably going to be really surprised to see this on my list because I got so fucking mad at this game. This list to me really is like games that stuck with me through the year, really provided a memorable experience. And I think Gallery was a memorable experience for a couple of reasons. Gallery actually came out as part of the Dread X Collection 5 in May of this year, and it ended up being one of the more kind of strange and experimental games that came out of the collection. I think the thing I found most fascinating about this game was that it's the first horror game I've ever played that has really incorporated ASMR into it.
Welcome to the Crooks Gallery. My name is AC Justin, and I'll be your guide for today.
And like, decent ASMR. Like I was genuinely relaxed many of the times that I was listening to it. And I think this whole mechanic kind of serves 2 purposes, right? If you're somebody who enjoys ASMR and experiences it, you're going to be more relaxed as you're going through, and the jump scares are going to get you even harder. It's going to kind of take you from 0 to 100 even faster. And then on the other end of that, if you don't experience ASMR, you hate the sound of people whispering in your ear, you have misophonia, you don't like it, all it's going to do is put you on edge, and it's going to make you feel uncomfortable, which is already setting you up for like these jump scares that are happening. So it was really cool. It was a neat integration. I liked the way that it kind of went into the story. You got like a little earpiece to go through the museum, and it was supposed to be like a guide to get you through the exhibits. It was very cool. On top of that, there was also this aspect where There were these stressful QuickTime events with something that was running towards you and you could hear it coming after you while you were doing the QuickTime events, which was very frightening. At one point, you were also translating a made-up language so that you could talk to this interdimensional being. You're making a bomb, you're running through all of these cool exhibits. There were just like a lot of ideas happening, and I feel like this was by far the most experimental feeling game that the DreadX Collection 5 had. It was neat. I always really like the fact that these collections give developers a chance to try out all of those experimental things without the fear of their game completely flopping. So I really genuinely hope I see more from this developer because Gallery was a very, very cool game. Number 3, Sally Face. So I really kind of missed the boat on Sally Face because the final chapter came out in 2019 and I just played it this year. And I believe the chapter started releasing in 2016. So like we were pretty behind on this one, but it was a wonderful story. I really enjoyed all of the weirdness of it. I know a lot of you enjoyed the weirdness of it. I had a lot of people coming back to these streams in particular, wanting to know how the story was gonna go. I don't know, it had a very similar vibe to Franbo, which is one of my all-time favorite indie horror games. It was creepy, it was dark. In fact, that's why I had put off playing it for so long, because I had it in my library for a very long time, and it deals with a lot of really dark themes. And I just wasn't sure if I was in the headspace to handle that. I wasn't sure if my stream would be okay with kind of themes like that. So I was a little hesitant, but all in all, like, I loved the characters, I loved the wit of everything, the way it was written was wonderful. I genuinely enjoyed this game, and if there are more like it out there, I would love to play them. If you are an adventure horror gamer and you are really looking for something with a good story, something that's going to be compelling and kind of a little offbeat, can't recommend Sally Face enough. Number 2, Choo Choo Charles. I was so scared that this game was going to be overhyped. I think the advertising for this game came out sometime in like 2021, like late 2021, and everybody lost their shit, myself included. I was really excited about the Spider Train game because it was such a weird concept. I feel like horror starts to like redo itself after a while. You start to kind of get the same feel. Okay, these monsters are based on this. These look the same. This is the same plot of everything else. But Choo Choo Charles was like just weird enough as to where everyone was really hyped about what was about to happen, and it looked genuinely fun. So when it came out, I was really concerned that it wasn't going to live up to the hype. I was pleasantly surprised by how fun this game was. I think sometimes indie horror games can fall into a trap of having this really ridiculous plot line and this ridiculous idea, and then taking themselves far too seriously, and then it starts to have like this disconnect between it. And Choo Choo Charles actually was quite funny and very self-aware, and I think that's what made it work so effectively. Honestly, I would have loved to just drive around in the train for eternity. I loved just powering up the train and zooming around the map. It was very relaxing if you don't count the spider train thing. This game was really polished. It was very straightforward. If you're looking for something that's for hardcore gaming, I don't think it's for you, but it was a really fun 3-hour romp around, and I got to drive a train and shoot things, and it just was a ton of fun. I think how successful the marketing was for this really played into that $20 price point, which is a little bit higher than indies of this size that I've seen, but honestly, I would have paid it over and over again. I really, really enjoyed this game, and I highly recommend it. Number 1, Signalus. Literally nobody is surprised that this is my number 1. I have been screaming about this game since I played it a couple of months ago. Signalus had every element of every classic horror game and still felt like its own game. It did not feel like it was a Silent Hill clone or a Resident Evil clone. It didn't feel like it was too much of one thing. It just stood by itself and remained kind of like this love note to all of the classic horror that came before it. The art was amazing. The visuals themselves were amazing. You never really knew where the story was going next, and it always kind of felt like there was this intensity throughout it. I know this particular point doesn't mean much to other people, but I went through this entire game and solved all the puzzles on stream, mind you, which I hate doing because I always look like an idiot. But I went through, solved all the puzzles, and did not look at a walkthrough one time. And that is saying something. That is saying I wanted so badly to get through this game, to feel the accomplishment of the puzzles, and to continue the experience for as long as I possibly could, and I didn't want to just rush it along. And that does happen for me with a lot of games that I play on stream. Like I said, I feel like an idiot sometimes if I'm stuck on a puzzle too long, and I know people just want to progress the story, so do I. So a lot of times I will look up the answers. But this one I feel particularly accomplished with because I didn't look up anything with this game. And I'm so glad I didn't, because the experience itself of figuring out these puzzles, of managing your inventory, of going through and kind of figuring out what's going on with the story was so rewarding. This is my game of the year above literally everything else, not just indie horror games, but like this is my game of the year above Elden Ring. Like I am that serious about Signalus. And I know I've already been screaming about it for like months now. I'm not done. I have plans. You're not going to hear the last of me with Signalus. It was truly a joy to play. I wish nothing but the best for the devs, and I sincerely hope that I see more coming out of them, because you can tell this game took years, and it was years and years of, I'm sure, blood, sweat, and tears, but a ton of love, and you can tell. So those are my top 5 indie horror games for the year. Again, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me through everything this year. I'm still having a blast doing this, and I can't wait to make more things. I hope you have a very safe new year, and I will see you in the next year. Bye.